Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Q Programming. Today we'll be seeing how to create user-defined functions in Python. Let's get into it. So to create user-defined functions, you have to use the def keyword, which is short for define. That means you're defining a function. So usually it is recommended to keep the function's name relevant to what you want the function to do. So here, see the syntax. This is how you write a function definition. You write def, you write the name of the function, then you write an open bracket and a close bracket, both of them circular. You put a colon, and at an indent you write whatever your function's definition is, whatever you want your function to do. And at the outside indent level you write any code that's outside the function definition, that's not part of the function definition. Alright, let's get into it. So suppose I want to make a function that will say the word hi 3 times, suppose. So I will write def say, and then because I wanted to say it 3 times, I will create a loop for it. So for I in range 3, print hi. Alright? So this function, now instead of having to write this 2-line code, I can just write say and it will do exactly what these 2 lines are doing. Currently, if I run this part of the code, there will be no output. This is because this is plainly the definition of the function. We haven't called it yet. So we have to call it by just writing the name of the function and then an open and close bracket. Alright, and you will see that it will do exactly as it is in the function definition. So this is a fairly simple example of how to define functions. Now let's move on to arguments and parameters. So what are arguments? Arguments are the values given to the function at the time of the function call. The first example that comes to mind is the range function. So we all are familiar with the range function, which is used in the for loop. So if I write a syntax, suppose like this, alright? Now here, these values 2, 10 and 3, these values are in fact the arguments of the range function, alright? Remember this, you have to keep this in mind, that whenever you call the function, the values you give while calling it are its arguments. Alright, so if I run this, we all know this is what's going to happen, right? I'm sure you guys are aware of how the range function works and how for loops work. So this is basically what a argument is. It is the value given to the function at the time of the function call. Parameters, on the other hand, are defined to take arguments. They're like placeholder for arguments in a way. Alright, so if I define a function add, okay, def add, and I write a comma b, and I say print a plus b. Fairly simple function, but here a and b act as placeholders of values, alright? So a and b can take the values depending on when the function is called, what values we gave them. So suppose I write add 2, 3. Here 2 and 3 are the arguments and a and b are the parameters. Let me write it here. Alright, so just see. Here the value of a is given, the value of 2 is given to a and the value of 3 is given to b. And at the end, when we execute this entire code, this function at this line add 2 comma 3 will in fact give the value of 2 to a and 3 to b. And at the end, since it has to print a plus b, it will print 2 plus 3, and as we expect it to, it will print 5. Similarly, we can do add 7 comma 9 and we'll get 16. So this is basically the broad difference between arguments and parameters. Parameters are when you define the function, arguments are when you call the function. So you can look at this table and understand the major difference between arguments and parameters. Alright, now let's do an example. So the example is that you have to create a function that will take in 2 arguments, the radius and the height, and will find the surface area and volume of a cylinder with those dimensions. The function should print these. Take the value of pi as 22 by 7, and the value of the radius and height should be inputted from the user. The expected output is something similar to this. So Let's analyze this. It first just takes the radius, takes the height, and finds the volume and surface area. Alright, easy enough. So first we have to define a function. So let's define a function calculate. Alright, and let's give it two parameters, radius and height, which I'm denoting by r and h respectively. Alright, so now first we have to find the volume. So we do volume equals, and then we use the formula for finding the volume of a cylinder, which is pi r square h. So we write pi r square h. Easy enough. And if we want to find the surface area, we write, let's just define a variable as surface area, and we define it, and the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r multiplied by r plus h, right? So we write 2 times pi times r plus h. So now using the parameters we have defined two values, its volume and its surface area, and we can print these accordingly. So we can write volume equals, and then we write volume, and then we write surface area equals, and then we write surface area. Alright, easy enough. And now we just have to take in the values. That's fairly simple. So we can just write r equals to int input enter radius, and h equals to int input enter height. Alright, and simply we just have to put these values into the function that we've created, that we've created. Now here r and h act as arguments. Down here are arguments here, but up there they are parameters. When we define the function, r and h are parameters. So remember these things. Alright, so let's try and run this. So I'm just going to use the value we used in the sample one. The radius is 10, the height is 6, and it printed it the way we needed it to. So as you can see, this is how we can use functions. So suppose in a long program you need to calculate the volume of like multiple cylinders and surface areas. Why write the code for it each time if you can just define it in a small function? It's always better. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like and ask anything you have to ask in the comments below. And follow us on our YouTube and subscribe to our channel for more such updates. And we will be posting more content about CBSE related things. And this Jupyter notebook that I just worked on will be in the GitHub repository. The link of the repository is in the description below. Thank you for watching.